So we were at Batterson, not quite. If you go up about a quarter of a mile further, you'll see the sign next to the track that says Batterson. And Batterson was actually on the other side of the road. It was about a 50-acre lot of land. Then back in the 1870s, Mr. and Mrs. Batterson decided to leave Eureka, California to come up and settle this area. They were going to homestead. And when they got up here, Mrs. Batterson made it 2 winters, and she goes, forget it, I'm going back to Eureka. So the husband, Mr. Batterson, and the boys, they stayed behind, and they kind of settled the area, so they went their separate ways. Now the Battersons grew up there, kind of helped pioneer that area, and when the train came through, they ended up buying that section of land, and they called it Batterson because of the Batterson family. So that was one of the train stops. Big lot of land. We'll go past Foss where we had the pigs and the cows earlier, and then the other one's Bowler. Those are 3 big logging camps that they had along the way. They would bring the logs down to that area. Trains would stop, pick them up, take them into Wheeler, Garibaldi, and Tillamook to the mills, and they would mill them, and then they would get them set, and they would ship them back over to Hillsboro. So Batterson wasn't just a stop along the way, it was actually a logging community that people used quite a bit. Now Mr. Batterson, he and his family, the boys, they grew up there, and his grandson, Wes Batterson, lived to be the ripe old age of 97. But he was one of those self-taught biologists. He grew up there on that lot of land, and he helped raise silver foxes and Canada geese, and they used the train to ship them all over the United States, and were quite successful. When Wes was old enough, he decided to go working in the woods and become a logger. So he picked up a lot of expertise as a logger as well. That played a big part in his later life. He became this wonderful wildlife biologist for the state of Oregon. He never went to formal education to a university to get all this information. He was just a very good observer of science and stuff. And he was quite well known. Because he had raised those Canada geese and was able to successfully ship them around, he learned a lot of things that helped out later on in life. Now Hawaii, their state bird is the Nini geese. And in the 1970s, they were down to 50 less than the whole United States, or the whole world, sorry, not just the United States, but the whole world. That's their state bird. And they're thinking, what are we going to do? Well, they've heard of this guy named Wes Batterson. They brought him over. He was able to get the population up from 50 to up over 1,000. They taught the biologists there what needed to happen to increase the population for the Nini geese. And now the Nini geese is no longer on the endangered species list. Is doing quite well because of this guy who was a self-taught biologist. So here he is in a small little town, small community, and made a world of difference. At least to the Nini geese, have made a world of difference in the people of Hawaii. So as we're going along, they call this the fall splendor because the leaves are changing up there. We see those white trees. Those are alder. Alder grow like weeds around here. They grow very, very much. I mean, I'll be out working in the yard. There's a couple of alders close to our house, and I'll see plants that's about 2-3 inches high. Look at it, oh, that's an alder tree. They just kind of plant themselves and do quite well. This is part of their cattle ranches over here, part of the Foss. We have 28,000 people in the whole county of Tillamook, and there's 24,000 cows. So almost enough cows for every person to have one. Most of them are dairy cows. These are beef cows. You can eat the dairy cows, but you get a lot better choice meats with the beef cows because of the way they're raised and what goes into them. And we'll be coming past. Yeah, coming up. I call it a pig farm. A couple weeks back, somebody corrected me. Said, it's not a pig farm. They just raise pigs there. I'm thinking, well, it seems like the definition of a pig farm to me. But there's pigs, good-sized ones, that they'll hang out. They have these beef cows as well. And that's where the community of Foss was located. That was one of those logging communities. And Foss also kind of doubled back in the 30s. they had this thing called the Civilian Conservation Corps. That's where they had these camps all over the United States, and they would bring in young folk to work in them. They would learn skills or use the skills that they had and help the community. It was one of those government big work jobs, but it was actually quite productive for the communities that they were in. And the fellows got paid $30 a month. 25 of that had to be